All right, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? Frank Red, right here on the In the Dungeon program, another edition, live and direct. I want to thank everybody for, at the top, tuning in to the program. I know you got a lot to do, and to take the time to check out the show. It's much appreciated, but I think it's worthy. There's a lot going on in the world of sports, and we're going to talk about it. We might even get an opportunity to talk about some topics on the fringe of the world of sports. A lot of dialogue is happening with regards to Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman and Marcellus Wiley, who is Max's boy. A lot of talk around Max's departure of First Take and some of the machinations of why that transpired. I actually do have an opinion on the issue, and I might get into it tonight, but not at the expense of talking about what's going on in the world of sports. As we look at the San Francisco 49ers victory last night over the New York Football Giants. My Giants growing up as a kid, 30 to 12, right? That was the score. Let me see. Yeah, 30 to 12. That was the score. So we can talk about that a little bit. The Giants are just solid. I mean, the 49ers are just solid. They're one of the 1, 2, or 3 best teams in all of football. And, you know, their offense was not pristine, but it was more than good enough. And they have to feel good about themselves to the extent that today, Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, and John Lynch, the Hall of Famer, multiple-time Super Bowl winner, Stanford graduate, general manager of the 49ers, both signed extensions today, and I think rightfully so. So we can delve into the 49ers game. All right. My name is Frank Red. How y'all doing out there? You see on the screen it says @BigFrankRed. You hit me up on X Twitter. Subscribe if you want to, or just comment on some of the things that I have to say, and I'll do the same with you if I get the urge to do so. At the end of the show, I will plug the In the Dungeon show, maybe talk about subscribing, so on and so forth. But I will not do that throughout the show or either at this point. You know what to do. You're smart enough to make that decision if you want to. I want to send a big shout out to SG, a loyal contributor and supporter of the program. I appreciate you, dude. And the lovely Vicky. How you doing, Vicky? Thank you for spending at least part of your Friday night with us. Vicky says, hi, Frank. Good game from the 49ers yesterday. They're still not playing their best football. NFL, watch out when they put it all together. What do you think of the Warriors' moves? Thank you. Appreciate you. Vicky, are you a sportscaster in your previous life, or, you know, when you're not listening to the Dungeon program, are you drawing in millions of listeners as a sports analyst somewhere? I wouldn't be surprised if you are. Thank you, man. That was real cool. That was real fast. Love it. We're also going to talk college football. The Colorado Buffaloes hope to continue their shock of the nation in college football, but they got to do it on the road up in Eugene, Oregon, against one of the top, most balanced football teams, certainly on the West Coast, and you could even say the entire country. The Oregon Ducks, led by the former Auburn Tiger, Bo Nix, who's come out to the West Coast and literally resurrected his career, really built on his Heisman Trophy aspirations, and certainly he's become a serious candidate for the NFL. So we can talk about that game. It's just fun to watch. I mean, I'm not a bettor, but if I was betting, if the line is still 20 points for Colorado, I'll take that bet, man. But I just like football. I think it's going to be a good game to watch. San Francisco Giants are on the cusp of winning. I don't think they've done so yet. Let me see. They're up 5-1 last time I checked. Yeah, the Giants are still up 5-1 on the Dodgers. So we'll see how that works out. It's going to be a tough road for them to position themselves into the wild card race based on the latest downward spiral that they've been on. But you got to give them credit to go down to Los Angeles and get a good pitching performance from Sean Manaea, a guy who I think that they had hoped would have an excellent year. He's kind of been up and down, but it's a talented cat, no doubt about that. And I think Sean Manaea, if he turns his option down with the Giants, and I assume he will, he'll be pretty well pursued throughout free agency because he's a talented guy, no doubt. So you got the San Francisco Giants doing their thing on a Friday night. The 49ers, I mean, what do you think? I mean, they're certainly one of the better teams, but it wasn't a resounding performance last night over the undermanned New York Giants. I mean, Saquon Barkley didn't even play. The Giants receiving core, I think, is pretty good, but not great. You could argue the 49ers were not at full strength because Ayuk didn't play. But I think anybody who watched the 49ers in preseason has to feel really confident about their young players. Ronnie, the young wide receiver out of Michigan, looks fantastic, scoring his first touchdown of the year. I think Christian McCaffrey right now, I think he's the MVP of the NFL right now. Now, we're 3 weeks in, but who's played better football than Christian McCaffrey? He's averaging over 100 yards per game. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. And he makes big boy runs. When you look at him, you would say, well, he's small. Yeah, he is small, but he's built like a Mack truck. He runs in between the tackles. He runs outside. The 49ers have been a totally different team. He has come to that organization. But what now, when you look at what they gave up to get him, it wasn't a first-round pick. It was multiple picks in mid-round. That was a steal. It really was. So big up to McCaffrey. He's playing really good football. And he makes life easy for Brock Purdy, as well as the 49ers wide receivers. There is not a collective group of wide receivers in the NFL that makes more tough catches than the 49ers group. They're unbelievable. All you got to do is throw the ball in their catching area. It doesn't matter if a defender has an attempt or not. They go up and get the ball. I think Deebo Samuels took it to heart when people were saying coming off of last year, he had a down year. And, I mean, he's alluded to that as well. But he is balling, man. This guy's playing great football, making Super Bowl-type plays. So you got to feel good if you're the 49ers. I'm interested in watching them against the Cowboys. Even without Diggs, the Cowboys, I think, are formidable. And when they come to the Bay, I think that's going to be a game that we're going to learn a lot about. Golden State Warriors. I guess their flirtation with Dwight Howard was just that, an opportunity to kind of kick the tires around. Apparently, they're not going to sign him. And I don't have a problem with that for numerous reasons. I'm going to tell you why. Mark Hope, what's up, brother? Big Frank, what's up, my big bro? Happy Friday to you, and what's on your mind tonight? Obviously, college football, as we preview that. The NFL, the 49ers looking like a juggernaut. I just mentioned the Golden State Warriors not signing Dwight Howard. Now, here's the reason why I think they didn't sign Dwight. Number one, a player of Dwight Howard's stature is not going to sign a non-guaranteed contract. All right? So at the veterans minimum, that's probably around $2.5 million, $2.8. If it doesn't go well, you're on the hook for that money. And plus, you don't have room to negotiate the roster. So, and the Warriors want flexibility. They don't want to have 15 players. I don't know what their mentality is, but I think that came into play. They probably wasn't that confident that they wanted to guarantee a salary for a soon-to-be 38-year-old future Hall of Famer who's not the same player that he was 3 or 4 years ago. Now they got to look-see. They can sign him later on in the season if they want to. So I think it was a smart move for the Warriors, and it was a smart move for Dwight. He had an opportunity to get into this organization, meet the key decision makers, presumably ingratiate himself really well with this organization, and potentially latch on board on a team that can win a championship. But from a financial standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world for them not to sign him right now to a guaranteed contract. And if I'm Dwight Howard, I'm not taking anything but a guaranteed contract. All right. I love the Aruba signing. You know, the guy who they got on a two-way contract, former 16th pick of the Houston Rockets, shot 41% from three-point range last year. I didn't know that. I actually learned that from listening to Larry Kruger yesterday when he did a Warrior shot. So that's even more encouraging. I saw Aruba make three-pointers in his highlight reel when I watched it. I was preparing to talk about him, but I didn't know his percentage. I think they got a steal, man. I really do. I like the Warriors roster, but I think last year they proved that they're a little light. And when they go up against the Nuggets of the world, the Lakers, they're going to need some more beef. So I don't think that Dwight Howard story is completely written, but as of now, it is. Mark says, I'm into college ball tomorrow. Of course, Colorado versus Oregon, Ole Miss, Bama. Yeah, I want to talk about that also, man, because, a lot of people have become familiar with Nick Saban as this Bear Bryant type figure at Alabama. But did you know he won a national championship at LSU with Jamarcus Russell as his starting quarterback? And before that, he went 11-2 and won I believe a Rose Bowl or some mighty bowl when he was a head coach at Michigan State. This dude is a football encyclopedia. And I love what he did this week. He gave the starting quarterback job back to Jalen Milroe, and he kind of gave little Tommy Reese, the former quarterback at Notre Dame, offensive coordinator, current offensive coordinator of Alabama. Nick Saban gave him a professional slack. You know, like, we tried it your way, and the people who you recommended that you put your name on the line for clearly were not ready last week. And it was embarrassing on national television, and I'm not going to stand for it. I know how to coach football. We can win 8 or 9 games this year simply by playing defense and not turning the ball over and playing to Jalen Milroe's strengths. So I'm going to give him the football, exhibit confidence in him, and see what happens. I think they'll beat Ole Miss simply for that reason, because Ole Miss is going to try to throw the ball around like they should. They got the former kid out of USC, Hart, who is playing good football. But I think Alabama, with Mike Steele as their defensive coordinator, is simply going to try to pound Ole Miss. And they're playing in Tuscaloosa? Yeah. So that's my take on Ole Miss and Alabama. I like Bama tomorrow, just because they are focused on playing big boy football. All right. And if this is one of those years in which they don't have the quarterback who's going to be the next high NFL draft pick, so be it. They can still win a lot of football games. And I think that's Nick Saban's mentality at the heart. Yeah, you see him winning championships, but at the heart, this dude is a tough-minded, blue-collar football coach. And I think that's going to be on display tomorrow. SG says Air Force is absolutely demolishing San Jose State by a score of 38-20 with 7:51 in the fourth. Yeah, that's disappointing because, San Jose State has put a lot of money into that program. Beautiful locker rooms, televisions, updates on the field, so on and so forth. And this year has not been what they had expected it to be. It happens. Season's not over. It's a long season. Air Force runs a tricky offense, but I would expect San Jose State to beat them at this point if they're playing home or away. So yes, this is a disappointing loss. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. So as you can see, we're off and running. The NBA started to circulate a little bit, and there was news out that the Damian Lillard talks are starting to intensify in terms of where he might play next year or ultimately be traded to. Thank you, SG. I guess the game is in San Jose. That's even worse. Using my critical thinking skills, if it's not Miami in the driver's seat, it got to be Philly, right? Maybe with James Harden in some type of three-way deal. I can't see James Harden landing in Portland. I can see him landing with the Clippers. Now, do the Clippers or a combination of, the Clippers and Philly have anything that Portland wants? Maxi's a hell of a player. But if James Harden's going to get to Los Angeles, you're not going to have James Harden and Maxi both going to LA. So I can't see that happening. Maxi in Portland, they don't really need him. There's only one ball. All right. So maybe there's a fourth team involved. I really don't know. But I think what's going to happen is I've said for a long time that Miami was not going to give up Jaime Jaquez, and I don't think they should. But when you get another team involved in the process, it makes you think and reevaluate your position. So maybe Miami will have to give up more than they want to if they truly want Damian Lillard, because from a professional standpoint, from an NBA's perspective, and I'm sure they'll be talking to Damian Lillard and his representatives, what is your goal? If your goal is to win a championship, then you could argue that Philly has as good or a better opportunity than Miami to challenge for an Eastern Conference championship and maybe an NBA title. So when you start talking like that and using those scenarios, Philly becomes a viable option. Although if I'm Dame is like, I want to go to Miami, right? Let's get this done. But you cannot discount Philly. They have a championship coach in Nick Nurse. They have an all-star future Hall of Fame center, some other viable pieces. Philly's not a bad locale for Damian Lillard, even though he doesn't want to go there. So I think that's it. I think Portland and Philly are probably talking now, trying to wake Miami up to see what they're going to do. I think ultimately Damian winds up in Miami, but Philly's an option. Frank, Deion Sanders, and Shedeur were on the top 80 pod this week. It was awesome. I think Colorado will kick Oregon's ass tomorrow. I'm loving that, man. I mean, I want them to win, but for me to come on my show and put pom-poms on and really sell that, when I saw the juggernaut that Oregon is, both offensively and defensively, I will lose all the credibility that I think I have. Think about this. Colorado has given up the second most points in the Pac-12 this year. They try hard, but they gave up what they give up? They gave up 38 points to Colorado State? I mean, come on. Now, that's why you play the game. I think what can happen if somehow Colorado gets off early against Oregon, as you know, Mark, it changes the entire complexion of the game. All of a sudden, it's a different game. You can use schemes that you normally can't use, and it throws the opposition off. So I think it's important for Colorado to give up to a strong start against Oregon, because they are more than formidable offensively, and defensively they got some big boys. All right. Mark says, I love to beat you. Okay, I love the beat you play underneath your vocal. Yeah, man, I'm a hip hop head, Mark. And I got some new music coming as well. But you know what? I love this beat. I actually use this beat for one of my songs. It's out there on Spotify, Apple Music. The song is called "I Can Do Anything I Want to." I can do anything I want to. So that's one of my rhythm tracks, one of my songs called "I Can Do Anything I Want to." I Can Do Anything it's called. And here's Vicky with her analyst hat on. It could be a trap game. Yeah, it could be a trap game. I got a lot of confidence in Henning. I think his name is Henning, the head coach of Oregon, and also Bo Nix. These are veteran type guys that have played a lot of football. They both come from the SEC. So you talk about a missed opportunity. Vicky, you're right. This is, I mean, can you have a trap game with Colorado though? I mean, think about this team. This team has shocked the world. They're actually more popular in certain regions than NFL teams. So I think this is going to be a game based on who can execute their game plan. That's what I think it's going to be. And I think, turnovers might also be an issue. But I think both teams are surely aware of each other. And I'm hoping for a good game. Certainly high scoring. I can't see the winner scoring less than 30 points. So that's going to be fun. Mark says, I think Shadeur's accuracy and toughness will win the day. Yeah, he's fun to watch, man. He's fun to watch because if you are a student of football, right, and you watch Tom Brady, you see Brady's influence all over Shadeur. His shoulders are square. His feet are aligned properly, slightly about 6 inches outside of his shoulders. That's the space between Shadeur's feet. So just like geometry, he's able to plant his pivot foot when he is surveying the field, going from right to left, and then he can even change and he can rebalance himself when he's going left to right, which allows him to see the whole field. And that was a hallmark of Tom Brady's success, his ability to read the defense and deliver the ball accurately. And you see elements of that in Shadeur. He's only going to get better because he's a better runner than I think that we've seen. I totally agree. He's the most fun quarterback to watch in college to me. I mean, even beyond Williams down at USC. I love watching Shadeur. He has an overhand throwing motion, and he's accurate, man. Now, Mark, I can speak to that. Mark says exactly. Mark says, exactly, Frank. Mark, I sound like a coach or something. What's going on here, man? Nah, you know what? There is a lot of alignment between all the sports, really. Tennis, football, basketball. I played tight end in college in football, but I have tremendous experience as a basketball coach. And I know how to teach the game. Partly because, I mean, as you guys know, I've always said it, I've had phenomenal coaching, Hall of Fame coaches. I love coaching the fundamentals of the game because if you would rely on the fundamentals of the game at any age, at any stage, you will get better. And that's the joke. That's the joke about Colorado. When the game starts, Coach Prime Time goes and takes a seat in the back. And Deion Sanders becomes a very conservative, almost need I say, Nick Saban type understudy on the sidelines. He's very meticulous. He is innately conservative. You don't see Deion like trying crazy onside kicks or not playing field position. He plays field position like any top tier coach at the college level or the NFL. I'm studying this guy. And he's a fundamentalist. I love it, which is why he was such a great player. So don't let the hype fool you. Deion Sanders knows how to coach football, and his players follow his lead, which is why it was so shocking and remarkable to me, because I didn't know how great a coach he was. The first thing that he did was go out and literally recruit and hire one of the best coaching staffs in all of college football. And his coaches are not getting enough credit, and rightfully so. He's a head guy. He would take all the hits, but he has done a phenomenal job surrounding all of this talent that he has with tremendous players. Mark says, yes. Shedeur steps up with his eyes downfield. Yeah, man, this dude is he's special. He's special. SG says, wide receiver Nick Nash was my roommate at San Jose State. Okay. Is not having a great game with 3 receptions and 19 yards. Well, there's another game next week. Individual stats, it really don't matter that much, right? I mean, I think he would take 0 catches if San Jose State was winning the game. But that's a good nugget, SG. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thinking of Damian Lillard also, I think you would have to raise Boston as a potential team that might be talking. I think Boston, if I'm the head coach of the Boston Celtics or the general manager, I love my team. I don't want to disrupt what I have, but Boston has some pieces that either Portland or another team might be interested in. I mean, you got Robert Williams. He's basically expendable at this point. Derek White's a nice player, an all defensive guy, a good offensive player, but he is definitely available if somebody wants them. I just think you got one ball. I mean, if you got Jason Tatum, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Kumingas, Damian Lillard. I mean, come on, man. They would have to reinvent basketball. And the Boston Celtics would be allowed to have, twice as many shots as everybody else or something like that. So I don't see that working. Philly is an interesting option if it's not going to be Miami. Although I got my money on Miami still. Some of you might be hip-hop fans. Some of you guys might not be. But one of the things that I really enjoy doing, having a platform, and I did this throughout my career in radio, is acknowledge artists that I am enthralled with and I think deserve the look and the mention. And if you're a real hip-hop fan, then you probably know the gentleman that I'm going to talk about. But if you don't, I'm sure a lot of people don't know who he is. Do some research. If you like hip-hop music, this guy is certainly on the cusp of I think, breaking through and being, if not a superstar, but somebody who people really know and respect. His name is Rashid Chappelle. New York kid, New York man. Love him, man. Love this dude. This dude is a vintage boom bap type hip hop artist, meaning that he really focuses on lyricism and telling kind of urban stories that we can all relate to, regardless of what your ethnicity might be. He's really focusing on lyric, not about shooting, not about killing anybody or doing anything else, but telling real stories about real lives in a way that is very engaging and with pulsating beats in the background. So once again, his name is Rashid Chappelle. He's dope, man. No doubt. Big Frank, I'm a big fan of Dame. Have been for many years. I'm pissed he's not a Warrior. How do you make that work? How do you make that work? I've known Dame since he was in high school. And I remember, I'll give you a quick story. I know you guys are like, Red, you got a lot of stories, dude. Yeah, I do. I've been watching Dame since he was probably a sophomore or a junior in high school. And partly because me and his high school coach, Orlando Watkins, reigning California State high school basketball champions, this past year, they won a state championship at Oakland High, where Damon went to high school. He and I are friends. You know, we kind of started coaching at that level at a similar time. And I gravitated towards him because I knew he was a good coach. Even though we were both struggling at the time, I knew ultimately that he would be a successful high school coach. And the one thing about him and Damon was Damian Lillard was coached extremely hard in high school. It was not one of these, you know, soft touching type of experiences. No, this guy was coached hard. He was coached hard by his high school coach, and he was coached hard by his AAU coaches as well. And I think that built into his success at Weber State, because he did not expect to be coddled. He didn't. And as a result, you even see him now. You got Steph Curry is probably the most normal, super duper star we've ever seen in the history of sports. And I think Dame Lillard is right there. Damian Lillard is a very normal person. And if you saw him on the street, you know, yeah, fans would gravitate towards him. But if you were there at a bus stop with him, you guys have a real conversation. That's the type of guy he is, man. So I'm happy for him and all his success. I like the Warriors as they are. I love that team. I love what they look like right now. The Warriors only have one ball. Look what happens with them. Beautiful basketball. Yeah, you know what though? I would actually be more concerned about the defense. Because Dame's not a great defender. He's not a sieve. But I don't think anybody's ever said Dame Lillard's a great defender. I don't think anybody's ever said Stephen Curry is a great defender. I think 3 or 4 years ago, Stephen Curry was above average, though. I think he's probably slipped a little bit on that side of the court simply because of attrition and because he has a heavier load now since Kevin Durant is no longer a part of this organization. So I'm all in on the Warriors and a big fan of Damian Lillard, no doubt about that. SG, Air Force scored another touch. All right, we don't need a play-by-play on Air Force and San Jose State, okay? You're an alumni, I get it. Wait till next week, all right? I love it, Mark. Big Frank, I love your show, okay? I'm checking out Rashid Chappelle. Yeah, man. It was dope. I'm one of those hip-hop artists myself that, you know, I love to see people win, man. I love to see people win. I can't help it. I can't help it. And breaking a career in music, I can't think of anything harder to do than to be successful in the music industry, because it's corrupt. It's a tough business. Literally, just to be heard, you need $250,000 to break a record. Yes, it doesn't matter how good it is, how average it is. If you got some money, you can be heard. And so my man Rashid Chappelle is slowly but surely kind of working his way through this morass of the music industry and building a lot of fans, putting a lot of good content out there, and I'm hopeful that he's going to be able to ascend to a level that allows a lot more, that allows many more people to enjoy his talent and his commentary. All right, I'm an alum of Balboa High School in Frisco. Were you up to go to? Were you? Okay, where did I go to high school? I'm from New York, Mark. I went to a high school that's called St. Agnes Cathedral High School. A small, tiny little high school on Long Island. We probably had 400 kids in our entire high school. A Catholic school that was probably about 15 minutes from where I grew up. I grew up in a town called Hempstead, Hempstead, New York, which is also Long Island. Relatively tough neighborhood where I grew up. And during my sophomore high school, I had an opportunity to go to this Catholic school that was renowned before I got there. My high school coach, a legend, Hall of Famer, his name is Frank Morris. Wow! St. Agnes Cathedral, damn. My wife's name is Agnes. Yeah, man. I don't want to name drop, but my high school is renowned. I mean, my senior year of high school, we were one of the best high schools in New York. I think we probably were the best, but we lost. We lost in the regional finals. It's a tiny world, man. We actually lost in the regional finals of my senior year to Mark Jackson's team. Broadcaster, former Golden State Warriors head coach. Mark and I are friends. We had won 19 games straight. We had also knocked out Mark's team the previous year. And we had lost in the state championship that year. But Mark and them beat us my senior year. We were the prohibitive favorite, but they won. And the only thing I can say that was good about that was they went on to win the state championships. They beat everybody else too. A pretty incredible team, historic team. But I had 3 Division I players on my team, 2 Division II players. So imagine having 5 seniors starting on a high school basketball team and everybody got a scholarship. That was my reality. Pretty incredible. I'll save you the names, but if you ever wanted to know some of the names, then I would put it out there. But yeah, man, I love high school basketball. I love coaching, and I love helping young people get better, because I was not one of those surefire, talented persons. I didn't have anybody to teach me. I was physically gifted. I had good size, and I was hungry. I was tough. So I wanted to win, and I was competitive, and I innately knew how to rebound. I don't know why. I was always a good rebounder, but the level of coaching that I received allowed me to round out my game and become a pretty good player at that level, and into college as well. All right, my man SG says, what are your thoughts on Colorado State player Henry Blackburn receiving death threats over the head on Colorado State football player Travis Hunter? It's sad. It's sad. I think it's terrible. I think it's absolutely horrendous that this young guy, he's a kid. You know, what is he, 21, 20? I mean, come on, man. Really? Was it a dirty play? Yeah, it was a dirty play. But, you know, there was a lot of hype in the game. I'm sure if he had an opportunity not to do what he did, he wouldn't do it. You think he wants to see Travis Hunter out multiple weeks, not playing college football? Nah, he doesn't. So, again, that's the other thing that I don't think people talk a lot about. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, was vehement in his denouncement of anybody giving this young man and his family death threats. Unacceptable, terrible, should not have happened. Yeah, man. I can't say that enough. Although I would have liked to have seen his coach denounce the play. We didn't hear that. Oh, it's football, it's tough, and, you know, bang, bang play and all that garbage. Nah, dude. That was a bad play. And I didn't even see him coaching them up on the sideline saying, yo, it's not cool. So I would have liked to have seen that. But death threats, I received death threats when I was coaching. And, you know, I was like, you don't know where I come from. You know, I remember that. It was weird and it was strange, but I think, and nothing came out of it, but I think that, you know, whoever sent it was like, yo, this dude is unflappable because I love my team so much. And most of the time it's somebody just, I don't know, not feeling great about themselves, you know, so they want to cause a stir or something like that. But yeah, that's my take on that. I'm interested in getting your thoughts on the 49ers because, I mean, the 49ers are really, really good. They have a big bandwagon, and rightfully so. But I would say that offensively, they haven't been great this year, or certainly not as good as you would have thought that they would have been based off of last year's success. Now, there's not one team in the NFL that is playing to a level that we thought that maybe a top tier team would. Not Buffalo, not Cincinnati, not Philly. Dallas has been real good defensively, but you losing Diggs. Offensively, I think Dak has been a little more conservative. And while that might be good in terms of not turning the ball over, is that great for Dallas long term? You know, I want to see a guy like that who seemingly is on a Hall of Fame type arc. If he can win a bowl, to let it go. He shouldn't have any ill feelings about throwing interceptions and stuff like that. So I don't think there's a great team out there right now. I mean, a great team that's playing its best football. The 49ers are certainly a great team. And so are the Cowboys and so are Philly. But I don't think there's any team right now that you look at and say, wow, they're unbeatable. That team doesn't exist. The 49ers, I feel like, needs to spread the carries out more. But I get that Cal wanted to feed McCaffrey. Yeah, Mitchell is a hell of a back, man. And they have depth. And it's interesting that you say that, because I hadn't thought about that. And McCaffrey, I don't want anybody to say that I jinxed him, but he's had injuries in the past. The great thing about him is during his tenure with the 49ers, for the most part, he's been pretty darn healthy, right? So I wouldn't mind seeing Shanahan spread the football around, give more carries to some other backs as well. Who's the other? There was a third string guy that also lit it up during the preseason. I can't think of his name, but he's good too. San Francisco 49ers will end the season, please, 17-0, and will make it all the way to the Super Bowl. Strong possibility. With Brock Purdy and hell to Vince Lombardi. I mean, come on, man. 17-0. They might lose to Seattle. Seattle's good. Is Jordan Mason the running back? Is that what you're talking about? That's him? Didn't they have a guy named like Prince Smith or something? Somebody with like he had like two last names. Did he get cut? Because they had a guy who was absolutely balling. And I know they lost some good players. So I guess the essence of my conversation with regards to the 49ers is they have tremendous depth at running back. They really do. They got depth, period. So yeah, man, I mean, they're good. Now, I do have some trepidation about Brock Purdy getting hurt. I've said that from the inception of him taking over. He's smart. He reads defenses. He's great at ball placement. You know, there's so many things that he does well. But you can feel the hesitation and maybe a little bit of fear through your television watching that game last night against the Giants because they put some heat on him to the extent that Wink Martindale, the DC of the Giants, was like, we're going to blitz this guy every play. And, it had some effect on Brock Purdy. There were some errant throws. And I'm just going to say this. He gets all the credit for the completions, as he should, and all of the yak yardage. But let me say this. That touchdown that Debo had in the third quarter when he had to adjust his body to the inside, it was a really good ball by Brock Purdy. But 3 out of 10 wide receivers will catch that ball for a touchdown. 3 out of 10. And Debo made it look easy. So Brock Purdy, again, as good as he is, he benefits from having, I think he has the best wide receiving core in the NFL. Not in terms of name and personality and Twitter followers, but collectively, I think he has the best set of wide receivers to throw to in all of the NFL. My man, Brian Iglesias. What's up? What's up, Frank? A lot of good college football games tomorrow. I have a feeling Colorado's run will come to an end tomorrow in Eugene. That's the logical perspective. But what if they win, Brian? Now, that changes if Colorado gets up early, right? If Colorado was up 21-0 against Oregon, they ain't the team going to come back to. They're not. So Oregon is more talented, presumably better at home, more depth. Colorado, are they still a 20-point underdog? But it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to watching that. Thank you, Frank. Debo, Kittle, Ayuk are the stuff. And what about the kid, what's his last name out of Michigan? Ronnie Hill, what's his name? I forget last name sometimes. Listen up. When I was making my notes, check this out. My trusty, you want to do content creation? I want to say this. Just for people out there that's like, oh yeah, those guys, they wing it. They just get on. Or those girls, no. Ronnie Bell, thank you. Every game, every broadcast, excuse me. You guys are so smart. Ronnie Bell's his name. And I forget sometimes, but I watched him consistently at Michigan. He was a baller there before he got hurt. Brian, the Colorado Buffaloes are kicking Oregon's ass. I love it. You got money on the game? I wish you. You got 20 points in your back pocket, man. That should be great. If Colorado wins, Vegas will lose a bunch of money. Yeah. But they'll get it back somewhere else. What do you guys think about Notre Dame, Ohio State? I'm interested in watching Colorado and Oregon, certainly. But that Notre Dame, Ohio State game, there's so many different stories associated with that particular game. First of all, I don't think Ryan Day's going to be the coach of Ohio State 5 years from now. I just don't think so. The guy who hired him, his athletic director, is retiring. And, Michigan's been slapping him around. They don't like that. The recruiting has been okay. This kid McCord, quarterback, the current quarterback who played with Harrison Jr. in high school, he looks like a good college quarterback. I don't know if he looks like a pro. Michigan looks like that team right now. Now, you look at Michigan and you say to yourself, can Michigan keep Harbaugh? Because, the NC2A probably doesn't like him. College football networks love him. Michigan has to love him. But is he interested in making another move to the NFL? I would think that they would pay him as much as any NFL team would pay him to keep Jim Harbaugh there. He's a phenomenal college football coach, and he does not miss on the fundamentals. Even when they were not beating Ohio State, they were still producing probably as many professional prospects because they're so fundamental. I love watching Michigan football. So, and guess what? Penn State's coming. Finally, Penn State, it seems like they're really ready to make that leap. Can you imagine Ohio State being third? Their fan base won't call for that. They won't tolerate that. So Ryan Day has to step it up. They might go after Notre Dame's head coach, who I think has comported himself pretty well after a rocky start. But maybe tomorrow is probably the biggest game of his career. And ironically, he's a former Ohio State player. Marvin, right? Is his name? SG says, who you got winning between the Saints and the Packers? Where's the game being played? If it's played in Green Bay, I'm taking the Packers. If it's played in New Orleans, I'm taking the Saints. So, I mean, I'm surprised that New Orleans offense has been so shoddy. I like Derek Carr. He made a couple of plays, but even without their best running back being there, I think that most would have thought New Orleans offense would be better. They have talent on the outside. They have depth at running back. I mean, New Orleans is the most talented team in that division. And yet, Tampa Bay, I think they play Buffalo this week. You expect Buffalo to win that. But Tampa Bay, to me, has been most impressive in that division thus far. And I like Green Bay. I really like what Jordan Love has done. Being up 2 touchdowns late, losing to Atlanta was a mystery and a head scratcher to everybody. So I think football fans probably feel this is kind of one of those gap years for Green Bay. But why? Why do you have to do that? Why can't you transition successfully and make a playoff run this year? You know, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that. Okay, thanks. SG, the Saints and Green Bay play in Wisconsin. So that's good. Mark Graves says, Carr is going to hurt Saints. He has fallen off. Yeah, he hasn't played very well. He's played okay. He hasn't been horrible. But I think that when they signed him, they expected more. They expected a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, especially going off of his interviews, because I think that from a mental standpoint, you had got the sense that maybe he had made that leap to a veteran player who could embark leadership on his teammates because he could go out there and get things done. He looks a lot like the guy who played for the Raiders. And overall, minus the gaudy stats, it's just been okay. All right? So I'm interested in seeing the Saints play and Derek Carr playing better. Who do you got winning between the Seahawks and the Panthers? Definitely the Seahawks. I mean, Bryce Young's not playing. He's been a little skittish. I'm big on Bryce Young. You guys know that. And I think that they're going to have to protect him, and they're going to have to commit to running the football. Because right now, teams are stacking the box on Carolina, and they're playing zone. And they don't have a wide receiver who can get past the zone. So he has nobody to throw to. And they're inviting Bryce. You know what they're saying? Yeah, you got some green grass in front of you. You want to take it, Bryce? Oh, yeah, we'll give you 7 yards to smack one on you. And he's like, I don't think I want to do that. So he's back there reading the defenses, and nobody's open. So Bryce is rock solid. It's going to take him some time, but they got to get a running game that they are going to commit to create play action, and they got to get some fast wide receivers who can go the distance. You know, they traded them. Check this out. They traded their best wide receiver to Chicago to get Bryce. So, yeah. SG says, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers winning over the Seahawks 52-49 game winning. What do you think this stuff up? I mean, what is your thesis for this, SG? And I'm halfway joking with you. But on this show, I want people who have strong theses. How could you? I mean, do you have like ChatGPT next to your bed or something? How do you get that algorithm to spit out 52-49 Carolina over Seattle with Dalton playing quarterback? And Dalton's okay, but can anybody imagine Dalton putting 52 points on the board in an NFL game right now? I can't think so. Mark says, SG, out of your mind. Go ahead. Yeah, right. Yeah. Seattle's good. Carolina has a lot of they're not winning that game. Brian says, whatever SG is smoking, I want some. Exactly, man. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. What else, man? Yeah, what's interesting to me, you guys know that there's an NBA game like on October 6th, October 5th. Literally in a couple of weeks, the NBA season is going to start. I'm going to check this weekend when media days are for various teams, but it's probably, next week? Yeah. So, I mean, this is the habitable zone of sports, where it's all good right now. All right. The NFL is just kind of getting itself together. I can start to care about Major League Baseball again because it seems like the Houston Astros are going to get in. So I can root for my guy Dusty Baker. Giants are not totally out of it. Pick the Giants up tonight. They played horrible down the stretch, but they did beat the Dodgers. But I'm a Dusty Baker guy. I got a Dusty Baker story. I don't know if I'll let that one go tonight, but Dusty Baker gave me my first interview, by the way. It was awesome. Frank, what do you think of the Celtics versus Lakers rivalry over the years? Pure magic, no pun intended. I mean, that rivalry, the Lakers and the Celtics rivalry, literally saved basketball and made basketball fans care again, because that was actually right after like the drug scandal with the Phoenix Suns. Back in the day, the Phoenix Suns had major scandals concerning cocaine, and it damn near broke the league. It really did. It was a major black eye on the NBA, and they needed a home run. And the fact that Magic and Bird had played against each other in college, they already had notoriety and a natural rivalry between those two guys, and they just continued that when they got to the NBA. Obviously, Magic Johnson was my favorite player, so I wanted the Lakers to win. But the Celtics were the Celtics. I mean, one of the best franchises in all of sports. Auerbach was still around smoking his cigars. Tommy Heinsohn was still, can you believe that? Look what they're doing to the Celtics. That was an awesome time of basketball. It really is. I just wish that like a lot of these players, and one of the great things about LeBron James is probably one of the few basketball historians from his era. LeBron really knows basketball history, and I think he really appreciates it, and it's just awesome to see him reflect and show great reverence to the players of the past, because without that Celtic and Lakers rivalry, we wouldn't be where we are now. Think about this. Whether you like winning time or not, what other NBA team could they make a television show about that people cared about? Certainly the Bulls. I know you guys are like, Red, the Chicago Bulls during the Jordan years. That would be too much. I got a story about the Bulls team that Doug Collins coached. That's pretty interesting, to the point where I would never say it on air. But yo, man, I'm talking like some inside stuff that goes on in the NBA. Would blow your mind away. Brian says, imagine if the finals were on tape delay, right? Back then, now, that would have, yes! We can't even fathom that, but that happened. Mark says, Frank, you need the Dusty Baker story. I went to Candlestick to see Dusty play and to manage as well. Him and Bocha are holding down old school baseball. All right, here's my Dusty Baker story. All right, check this out. For those of you who have satellite radio, Sirius satellite radio, I assume some of you either have Sirius or you have listened to it before. All right. Eminem has a channel, Shade 45, right? And the #1 show on Shade 45 is hosted by a good friend of mine, Sway Calloway, right? Sway Calloway's from the Bay, from Oakland. And Sway and I are real friends. We're not celebrity friends. We are real friends. I had the pleasure of spending a holiday with his family, Thanksgiving, one of the most memorable moments of my life. And maybe I'll get into that at some point. But Sway's a good brother. And I played a tiny role in his radio career, because he was transitioning from being a nighttime host to doing morning radio. And I had talked to him about incorporating sports into his nighttime show, and we did that successfully, covering high school sports and doing a bunch of stuff. I was literally the first person in the country to have a sports talk show that kind of mixed sports and music and hip hop music together. Seriously, it's kind of weird, but the show happened on KCK up in Sacramento. I can talk about it for a long time. Not necessarily that I do, but to do my demo tape, Sway gave me 2 tickets, and he said, "Yo, Red, go check this out." It was the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame banquet. So, I dusted off probably like the one sport jacket I had in my closet. I probably still had some dust on it, but I did the best I could do. And I went. And great show. A lot of 49ers were there, a lot of other people too. I'm not gonna name right now. But when the show was over, I'm out like in the foyer area, by the doors. And I see Dusty Baker. I'm like, "Hey, Dusty." He go, "Yo, what's up, young fella?" like that. And I said, and he comes over, and he has this lovely wife with him. I said, yo, Dusty, I'm such and such, and Frank Red, and I do a sports talk show, and I would love to interview you. Imagine that happening today. No way in hell. They would be down in the elevator, going through like straight to your limousine and stuff like that. I actually had that interaction with Dusty coming out of an auditorium. He goes, yo. Oh, he goes, I tell you what, young fella. He goes, call the Giants and leave your name, and who you are, your phone number, when you want to do it, and I'll call you back. I said, okay, Dusty, thank you, man. Have a nice night. So I'm on cloud nine. I'm like, what? Did this just happen? So the next day, I called the Giants. That's when the Giants were at Candlestick. And I said, I left a message on Dusty Baker's voicemail. This is crazy. Crazy story. Access. 2 weeks later, I get a call on my house phone. Yo, what's up? This is Dusty Baker. What's up, man? And he goes, he said that Dusty used to manage he used to manage in Winterball. So he was like, yo, I'll be busy for the next couple of weeks. I'm doing such and such. I'm going to go to this place. And then we can do the interview. I'm like, this is crazy. He goes, listen, I'm going to give you my personal number. Don't give it to anybody. He gives me his personal number. So I call him, and I still can't believe this. We set up a date. I drive out to Candlestick, right? And I mean, listen, the Giants facilities now are unbelievable. At Candlestick, they were not, all right? Most of you guys probably have a better weight room than they had. So I get out there probably like an hour early, and the team manager is there, Sean Estes is there. And, ultimately Dusty comes in. And, we go to his office. We start talking about our lives. And literally, I had the opportunity, the pleasure to talk to Dusty for about 2 hours before we did an interview. This was just he and I just chopping it up, right? I'm looking at this guy like he's like a dad, because I never had a father, right? Dusty Baker is the type of dude that, if you never had a father and you envision somebody like your dad being really, really cool, that's Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker is exactly like he is on television. That's why all of these rappers, everybody always embrace this guy, because Dusty is a cool dude. So we're sitting there talking about music. He's like, yeah, I like Snoop. I like NWA. I like this. I like that. Dusty Baker is like one of the last Renaissance people in all of sports. I would put Bruce Bochy in that category for a different reason. He has the same reverence that Dusty has. And it's ironic that they both managed the San Francisco Giants. Crazy. But that has to rank as the best experience I've ever had in sports. Was literally the day that I spent with Dusty Baker, because we talked about everything. And then we did an interview. And that interview that I did had Dusty Baker, had another college coach, and it actually got me hired by a radio station, a small station up in Sac, to actually start my career. And that's a funny story as well that I think I'll tell in some particular time. But yeah, that's my Dusty Baker story, man. And I remember, like, if I saw Dusty right now, he'd be like, yo, what's up, Red? I mean, he's that type of dude. He really is. I mean, think about this. Look what he's done in Houston. Coming off of that sour period that they had, coming off of winning a World Series, they're still in contention now. I would attribute that to having really good players, good scouts, but a lot of that has to go to Dusty as well, man. Dusty is, you would run through a wall for Dusty Baker. You really would. If you come from my background, anybody would love to play for this guy. First of all, baseball was not Dusty's favorite sport. Basketball was his favorite sport. He had a scholarship out of high school to Santa Clara. So he was really smart. He's a really smart guy. He's fluent in Spanish, speaks another language. And he was Hank Aaron's rook. Come on, man. Dusty Baker's a national treasure. No one has better stories than Dusty Baker. Nobody has better stories than Dusty. Imagine being Hank Aaron's rook, which means that Hank Aaron had to treat him like he was his son. You know what I'm saying? Yo, this is your rook. Back when they started doing that time in America, was that late 50s, 60s, or whatever it was? I mean, yo, man, tough. It wasn't that long ago, but he was Hank Aaron's rook. Yeah, and I mean, most people thought that Dusty would just kind of ride off into the sunset after winning last year. And during the press conference, Dusty was like, well, Dusty, what are you going to do after the game? You just won a World Series. He goes, man, I'm going to go party, man. I'm going to go have some fun with my team. And he goes, what do you want to do now? I want to win one more. I don't want to win just one. And after all of the defeats in the playoffs and everything, they said, yo, Dusty, did you ever think that you were going to win a World Series? He goes, yeah, I thought I would. Ultimately, I thought that I would win another World Series as long as I had the opportunity. And because I have that allegiance to Dusty Baker, whenever there's a job opening, I was waiting for one of the ESPN analysts, baseball insiders, Chris Kirkchin, and some of these cats to mention Dusty's name. They never mentioned his name. Never mentioned his name. The teams that are losing ultimately say, we need to go get somebody who's going to turn this thing around. That's Dusty Baker. Now, I've never met Dusty's son, Darren Baker Jr., but I'm watching. A couple of days ago, ironically, because I'm all about sports. I love sports. And I love doing the research. Dusty Baker's son, Darren Baker Jr., I believe he's on the cusp of ultimately making the major leagues. He hit 293 this year for AAA team for the Washington Nationals. Can you imagine that? I mean, your son is at AAA right now on the cusp of hitting 300. So he got a shot, man. Darren Baker Jr. has a shot at playing in the major leagues. He does. So, and he's hitting for more power now. He wasn't doing that early on, but he's starting to hit for power now. Wouldn't surprise me as early as next year if he's in the major leagues. I don't know. That's my Dusty Baker story, right? I think I got one that's comparable. I'm not going to talk about it tonight. I mean, I'm lucky, man. I am. There's nobody more lucky. There's no one luckier than me. I don't believe it. I'm a lucky guy. I've been in the right place at the right time in a lot of situations. I've met all my idols. All of them. I met all my idols. When I was a kid, Dr. J was one of my idols. As it turns out, Dr. J's nephew, his sister's son, is one of my best friends. So his uncle, Dr. J, his name is Barry, right? So Doc used to give Barry his sneakers, his Converse, and he would have like a little, like a little DJ written on them, right? And Barry used to let me wear them because I wore size 15 also, and Doc wears size 15. And he would be like, he's like, yo, Red, Frank, yo, dude, I'll let you wear them, but don't get them dirty. And I knew if I got one like smirk on the sneakers, I would be able to keep them. So I wouldn't do it on purpose. Wink, wink. But I should wear Dr. J sneakers, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, Vicky. Dusty's a great guy. He really is. Thanks a lot, Mark. I appreciate it. I think meeting Dusty Baker. After that, I mean, I met Tracy. I met Tracy Chapman too. Tracy Chapman is another one of my idols that I met, and that was cool meeting Tracy Chapman, especially now that Luke Combs, the country star, has basically taken her song "Fast Car," and I don't think that he exceeded her in terms of the popularity. She wrote it and everybody, but he's come close. I mean, that's a hit record. And generations upon generations will have to do their homework to realize that he didn't write that song. He is not the original artist of that song. It's Tracy Chapman with Fast Car. Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about music also, because like the learning process, I mean, you guys know that song, It's Gonna Take a Lot of Love. It's gonna take a lot of love, get us through the night. About 6 or 7 years ago, I found out that Neil Young wrote that song, and it blew my mind. And I listened to his version, which is totally different than the up-tempo kind of disco version. But his version is outstanding. I love his version of his song, Lot of Love. And real simple, but it's great, man. So I love music, I really do. Okay, Frank, what's your favorite sneakers? I gotta say Converse, casual Converse. You know, I'm one of those guys, man. I mean, the idea of paying $200 for sneakers to me is crazy. I can't see that. I love the simplicity, but the coolness of casual Converse. So if I'm not playing ball right now, so I wear casual Converse. The only Jordans that I ever had was I had the opportunity one year to play on an NIT All-Star team, and we went to Korea, South Korea. Actually won a gold medal, and Nike used to make their sneakers in Seoul, Korea. So we went out to the factory, and they gave everybody on the team a pair of Jordans. That was kind of cool. That was the one and only pair that I've had, you know. But Nike's kind of run small. I like sneakers that run big, because I got big feet. I wear size 16. So I like sneakers that are big. Nikes look good for people who have narrow feet. And now I need breathable shoes, man. So anything that's comfortable I wear. But, you know, I like Converse if I'm just walking around. Nikes look good. I like KD. I like aesthetically, I really like how Kevin Durant's Nikes look. Really kind of dope. Yeah. You know what they say, good ones create, the great ones. Exactly. That's right. Mark says, Luke Combs is a thoughtful guy. I feel you. Yeah. Mark says, Dr. J is my guy. Yeah, Doc wears 15. It says NIT All-Star. Okay, cool. Yeah, George, that's awesome. Yeah. You know, man, it's just like, I wonder how Mike feels. I mean, like, it was interesting watching Affleck and Matt Damon movie, I thought it was Air, right? The kind of that narrative on how Nike was able to sign Jordan. It's a good movie. I thought those guys want to make movies. But I wonder how Mike feels at this point, because he's like, I mean, he was part of like a collective effort that worked. But, I mean, he's real rich, got all the money in the world. After being the greatest player of all time, I wonder what his day-to-day is. I wonder. I'm sure he's exceeded many of his expectations. But, yeah, I just wonder. You can't get that thirst back of playing basketball. But I think that you can have a second act, though. And I don't know if making money is the second act. Now, he might be doing things that I know nothing about. You can argue that Barkley's broadcasting career has been more successful for him than his playing career. Whether or not you like him or not is almost irrelevant, but he's had a second act. When I look at Stephen Curry, if Steph wins 5 championships, that's great. But I would equally be interested and enthralled by him going out on the PGA Tour and seeing what he can do. Can Stephen Curry become a top 50 player? You know how incredible that would be? It's like Deion Sanders now. We're talking about Deion. Yeah, people were chirping at the beginning of the year, this guy can't coach. The guy can coach. Have you seen anybody, at least from the inception, make a bigger, a more incredible transition from one extraordinary career to the next? I haven't seen it. I would love to see Stephen go out on tour and play golf. I would love to see that. I mean, his contribution to society, what he and his wife are doing is extraordinary. I'd love to watch them work together in their community efforts. But I want to see this dude go out on tour. I think that would be, because I was a caddy for 13 years. Caddying was my first job. So I know golf very, very well. Don't really play it a lot. Don't have the time, or it's pretty expensive. I don't have the network of friends to play golf either. I'm busy writing rhymes right now. But I know the game, and I learned the game from a caddy's perspective. So I know how hard it is. And this guy is a marvel. He's so disciplined. He's so meticulous. I think Steph could be a top 50 golfer. I do. Damn, Frank. Yes, great points. Michael Jordan. I was a Foot Lock employee in the 90s. That was crazy good. Oh, yeah. Frank, you might be the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Every day. Every day. Yeah, man. That's why you don't see me upset. I'm not upset. I'm not upset about anything. I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning in a major way. Which is why I'm gonna give this back to you guys and you ladies. It is truly an honor to do something that I love to do, which is talk about sports and talk about life and hip hop and society and all these things that matter to us in a way that is collaborative, for you to be able to share your thoughts with me in this forum. And this is going to evolve. It's fun. It's a lot of fun for me to do because I work hard. I'm a very hard worker. I'm very disciplined. And this is a great diversion. Like I said before, I love doing the prep work. I mean, if you're going to do a show or any type of content, anything you do, you should put 100% into it. So I love doing the prep work and learning about things and taking facts and hypothesizing over various things. Kind of cool. All right, Mark says, Frank, last week you discussed the anniversary of Tupac's death. Who's going to lead the new school? Oh, wow, man. I don't see anybody who is going to be head and shoulders above anybody else. I don't right now, because the corporate entities have won, and they're controlling hip hop now. So it's kind of like ESPN. Nobody's really beating ESPN. ESPN does a phenomenal job, but they're so big. The corporations are so big now that it's hard for underground artists who have that level of potential, like a Kendrick Lamar, to rise, unless you kind of go through the machine. So it also takes a different personality who, while they're focused on being successful, because it is a business, but has a bigger vision of what their talent and the medium of music and the internet can do for us as a society. You think about all of those artists back in the day, that was their vision. The Chuck D's of the world. I mean, a lot of people, think about this. There's a lot of people who don't know who KRS-One is, which is crazy. KRS-One is one of the greatest rappers in the history of the art form. A lot of people don't know who he is. So there needs to be some type of breakthrough where it's more equitable. As long as finances are and money is at the forefront of deciding who's going to walk through the door, that will hamper and inhibit the next great group of artists who can really, again, go beyond the level of entertainment. I think Cordae is an artist to keep your eye on. He is the boyfriend of Osaka, the women's tennis player who's awesome. They just had a child, but Cordae is a real talented artist. He can really write, and I think he is very thoughtful. Keep your eye on Cordae. I don't know how large Rashid Chappelle is going to become. I mentioned him tonight, and some folks have tried to check them out. He's dope, but it takes a lot of stuff, man. I mean, like Drake. When Drake came along, Drake was everything that the industry had hoped for. He could sing as well as he could rap. He was a handsome dude, and he was all into the corporate model. He was in with both legs, and it allowed him to just go beyond this universe in terms of popularity and success. It's going to take a special type of individual to get to that level. There's some talent out there, though. You know, I'm going to keep putting music out. I love it. I love making records. I like Kendrick, Rick, and a few others. Damn, I feel you. Corpse, yeah, man. It is what it is, but it gives us an opportunity to kind of dig, man. You know, dig and go out there and be meticulous in how we look at music and how we search for it. And one of the things that's happened is the proliferation of artists of the past who we've liked quite a bit. The LLs of the world, the De La Souls. Those artists are kind of having a resurgence where they're putting out new music. The Lox, Jadakiss, these artists have been around 20 plus years, and they're still crushing it right now. So, you know, it's really about the quality. That's what it's about the quality. So quality can come from anywhere, but I think that your interests and your passion and your desires and your focus and your objectives have to be aligned to really have an impact. There's so much stuff to write about that has not been written about. I'm excited, man. I really am. As she says, Frank, you might be the okay. Sorry. Yeah. This has been incredible. It really has. We're an hour and a half in. I'm going to do a show on Sunday night, kind of wrap up the weekend in sports and in the NFL. And I'm looking forward to that. I want to save some for then. But I'm going to tell y'all something. This is an hour and a half. I mean, I can do 3 hours. I can do like 2 hours, no problem. And I love that I can do that. And I could do it just talking to myself, but it wouldn't sound as good. I don't think. I mean, I love the level of engagement and contributions that you guys are, committing to the program. And thank you. I appreciate you. All right. I'm gonna do my thing, get out of here, and I'm gonna come back on 9 o'clock on Sunday nights. Hopefully, you will join me and join us for another edition of the Dungeon program. Like I said, I'm going to do it one time. If you have not subscribed to the channel, just hit that button if you like it. If you don't, give us another listen the next time and we'll keep moving. Hit me up at Big Frank Red on Twitter, X. All right? And that's all good. Like he says, I could talk sports all day. Oh, yeah, I love sports. I love sports. It completes me. Frank, I love Rick Ross song, You Know I Got It. Yeah, you know what? That's actually, that was the Jay-Z and Rick Ross song, right? I love that song too. I love the beat off that song, man. Yeah. No, that's awesome. And the vibe of that song is incredible. Incredible. I remember the first time that I heard that song, I was having an open gym with the team that I was coaching. And some kid played that song on their, I don't know, their Spotify, whatever it was. It was blasting through the gym. I was like, who is that? I love that song. Yep. That's a great look, Mark. All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. Everybody have a great evening. And I'll see you the next time. I'm Frank Red, locked in the dungeon. Good night.